Welcome to Rin Behind the Practice. I'm Sophie Campisi. I'm a holistic business strategist, and I spend a lot of my time in conversation with practitioners, coaches, and healers about the behind the scenes of their businesses. What I started noticing is that some of the most honest, important conversations about building a practice were happening quietly, one-on-one, behind the scenes, in isolation. And there's still so much internalized guilt and shame when the business side of things isn't working the way we hoped, even when the work itself that we do with people is powerful. This podcast series exists to bring those conversations forward. The dreams, the uncertainty, the highs and the lows, the recalibrations, the messy middle. My hope is that by normalizing these conversations, we can soften the stigma, feel less alone, and start closing the gaps together. Today's guest is Robynn Powers. Robynn is an intuitive eating coach for moms, taking them from diet disaster to ease, trust, and freedom with their eating. Robynn, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Before we look behind the scenes today, can you share a little bit about the work that you do?
Sure. So, like you said, I'm an intuitive eating health coach. And for what that means is that moms come to me when they have done all the diets, they've tried all the plans, and they still feel that feeling of frustration, right? Because of course they want to feel good in their bodies, but they have gone through that diet cycle enough times that they know it's not getting them anywhere. If anything, it's just making them feel worse in their bodies and about themselves because they start to feel like there must be something wrong with me, right? If everybody else is getting these great results with these diets, there must be something wrong with me. But what they're not seeing is everybody else is feeling that exact same way because the diets were never meant to actually work, even though that's what you've been told. It's not you. It is the diet. And so what I help them do is to discover, and a lot of times rediscover, what their bodies are actually telling them. Because we spend so long trying to listen to the experts and the rules and all these things, we stop listening to what our bodies are telling us. So sometimes they have to relearn those cues. Sometimes they're so subtle because they've spent so long tuning them out. So it's guiding them through the process to tune back in, because our bodies actually do know what they need. We just have to learn to listen or relearn to listen a lot of times.
When it comes to the structure of how you work with your clients, can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I do a few different things with clients that sign on with me. There's either one-on-one with them that's a weekly thing for 3 months. They sign up for 3 months at a time. But I also twice a year run a 2-week program. It's a virtual group program. It's kind of like a Kickstarter to what intuitive eating is. It helps shift those mindsets from the diet mentality into the self-care, self-compassion mentality, which creates so much more ease and trust with their body and that freedom of knowing that I don't have to follow somebody else's rules to be healthy and to take care of myself. And then I also work with local businesses as well, where I go provide workshops for their customers and their clients. And it's usually in a business that provides also health and wellness experiences, whether it's a personal training business or a yoga studio or a nutrition business. So those are the ways I work with people.
When you look ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, what goals do you have for your work and for your business?
The biggest goals I have, I would say, would be to have a more consistent schedule of workshops in partnering with other local businesses, because I do have a couple that they're willing to host my workshops, whatever I ask. But I want to branch out and get to more of those moms out there, right? Because they're not all going to these 2 smaller businesses. I want to reach more people through other companies that we are offer, that same mindset when it comes to health. And then also so I'm running my 2-week program. Actually, it starts next week. And then I will run it one more time before the end of the year. I always do it twice a year.
Would you say that the bulk of your business is coming from the online business aspect or the local partnerships, the in-person stuff?
I would say most of my clients come from the local business partnerships, whether they're sending them to me just, randomly, like, okay, go talk to this person, me, or they came to a workshop there. Because even though I am online quite a bit, doing things there, there's there's just this connection that happens in person, right? That's so much more intimate. Plus, that they're already a client or a customer of that business owner, and they trust them, and they know that what they are recommending they can trust as well. Then as soon as I walk in that door to do anything, they're already trusting, right? Because I have a great relationship with these business owners. We have the same mindset. We have the same goal of, helping these women thrive in life, feel that vitality, that energy, and do it in a way that feels good to them.
Absolutely. Trust is the name of the game. And what you said is it's true, which is it's so much easier to build trust in person than it is online. It's not impossible, but it is easier. So the fact that you have that, you're able to anchor into a really strong trust building network. Like you already articulated that there's trust already built. If someone's a client or a customer of a place, there's trust built. There's a lot that cannot be undervalued. Trust is everything. Yeah.
Especially in this realm, right? When we're talking
Yeah.
about our health, we're not going to just go with anyone. And women feel vulnerable too when they're talking about these things. It's a very personal thing. It's not the same as, even just buying some product, going to Target and buying shampoo or whatever, right? It's a much deeper issue. And so if they don't trust you, they're not going to be willing to open up and really let them help you.
When you think about reaching those goals that you have, growth goals, we can say reaching more women, reaching more moms, what do you think it's going to take to make that happen? Are there any steps that you can see clearly?
I think it's very clear that, and I've already started to do this, is to reach out to like explore what's in my area. What different businesses have I maybe not even thought about reaching out that would be a great partner with me? And like I said, I've already started to do some of that. I think some of the challenge might be scheduling, right? Where like as a practitioner, as health coach, I'm busy, but then also the businesses, right? They're busy running their businesses or they have other events and things going on. So sometimes even though they were like, yes, we want you to come to a workshop, that timing, figuring out when is the good time can be a challenge.
What's your general approach with these local businesses? What the ones that have been successful, what's your approach been?
So the two that I most am in contact with and have like a really good relationship. One, the owner I've known for a long time, right? We're have been acquainted for 15 years, and she just opened up her own business and asked me to come in, right, and help sell and offer my services. Where the other one, I just happened to notice it was there, got curious about what it was, started following her on social media to see what her business was all about, what the things she was doing. And I really liked it. I was like, yeah, this is great. It really, I think, complements what I already do as a personal training group, small group training facility. And I was like, yeah, I like this. And so engaged on social media. And then one day I just said, I'm going into this business. I'm just going to go introduce myself and say hi and see, what things we can put together. And I walked in, she's like, told her my name. She's like, hey, I know you. You have been engaging on, my social media page. And we set a time to talk. We talked for the longest time because our mind, like the way we see health, that holistic, right? See it as holistically, not just the exercise, not just the nutrition, not, but putting everything together. We were so much on the same page and had so much to say. And we've had a great relationship. I refer people to her. She refers people to me. I go in and do workshops. And yeah, so it just depends on the business, how we put that relationship together. But I do go out and look and see what people are doing in the area and like, oh, what are they doing? That's really interesting. And I like the way they're doing this. And maybe there's a way we could work together.
Leveraging personal networks is it's undervalued. One of the things that when I work with people, one of the first things that we're working on is target market, zone of impact, getting clear. And something that I see is a pattern often is if we are trying to target people that are too far outside our own realistic, like who do we see every day? Who do we talk to every day? Who do we like talking to? Who do we have a lot in common with? If and when we stray too far from that, it makes it very hard. It's undervalued. What you're saying is really starting out with the people that you're already seeing, the people that you already have a lot in common with, and you can have great conversations with. And either they're already in your network or it's easy to walk into a place and pick up. Yeah, great approach. When you think about building and connecting with more locations or expanding your online presence over the next 6 to 12 months, are there any friction points either that you've already run into a lot or that you anticipate running into?
I think, like I said before, I think one of the biggest challenge is to come up with dates that work for me, work for the business owner, but then also work for people that would be interested in coming to these events, whether it's like, do I schedule it during the day? Do I schedule in the evening? Do I do a weekend? I work with moms, so I know personally, I mean, I'm a mom of four. I know what it's like when you're pulled in all these different directions. Like, okay, well, if I'm a mom that's working full time or running my own business, I might be busy during the day, or in the evenings, I'm running my kids to practices. Weekends, okay, that's family time. And I'm not. So it's like thinking about all these logistics of the people that I know I can help and what their availability their availability might be, and going along with the schedules of the businesses that I'm partnering with at the same time.
Yeah, I haven't fully thought about that part about when you are partnering with someone or a business, there's a whole other party that you have to coordinate with when it comes to scheduling. And
It's not just your own schedule.
not just your own schedule in a brick and mortar, I'm assuming there is a little more tightness around those hours.
For sure, because they have their own things their own classes going on, their own scheduling, other events they might be running that they don't want you to compete with.
And you have to get there. And for me, if I want to run a nighttime workshop, since I'm running my business from home, I can do bath time and bedtime with my boys and get them down and then just pop right into my office and just start teaching a workshop.
Right.
What else seems hard about the next 6 to 12 months? Is there anything that you're just like, "Oh, this feels like it's going to be a hurdle," or that you're not looking forward to?
I would say probably, as it just in the online space mostly, there's so much noise out there, right? Especially when I'm competing against all of those experts, so-called experts and influencers. And, the fitness industry is a $71 billion industry. Like they know they have the marketers, they know what they're, how to pull people in, even if what they have isn't working long term or even in really a healthy way. They know how to get people in to try their stuff, where I'm competing against them most of the time to help moms realize that these things that they're being drawn into aren't actually helping them in the long run. But I'm there for them when they realize that it's not actually helping. But cutting through the noise and getting their attention, is an ongoing process. It makes me have to, spend time and energy learning, not just, for what I'm doing, how I'm helping, but learning marketing. And, so that people actually see me and how I can help them. Because I'm great at like helping people in this area, but it's getting the people in front of me so I can let them know like how I can help them and pull them away from the diet culture. And not just for them. They say I work with moms, not just for them, but for the next generation, because that's, my passion is moms. One, because I'm a mom and I think they tend to not take care of themselves as well when they're taking care of everybody else, but also because the influence they have on their kids. All my clients have either watch their moms as kids, watch their moms struggle through diet after diet, never feeling good in their bodies. Or they went on their first diets with their moms and continued that cycle, whether that's for years, sometimes even decades, until they finally realize like this isn't the answer. And I see the kids now. They're like, I can tell you, like, I have a teenage daughter, right? And I've been around her friends and I see the way they treat themselves, as far as like they don't eat anything except for candy and they're drinking the energy drinks and whatever. And I'm like, this came from somewhere, right? And it's not going to end unless somebody, a role model, their mom, shows them that it's okay to really just take care of yourself, to nourish yourself properly, and that there's nothing wrong with you if you are not the same size or shape as those people on TV or on social media.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in a role like you. This as a consumer, as a human, there's pressure on it. But for someone like you, who this is your area of expertise, this is the area that you feel called to be of service in, the pressure of social media world and all the media world and how that's impacting us. Gosh, it's so extreme and it is noisy. And on the business side, something that you said, I run into this problem and all of us do, is when you have a client or a target market who isn't always solution aware, maybe they're problem aware, but they're not always solution aware. And then you have that layered in with the social media age of all of these influencers and everyone's obsession with the photos and this is what I eat in a day. Oh my gosh, that can create a tangle for you, I'm sure. And I want to hear your take on this of people getting very confused and very lost and not having a steady guide or just sense of calmness and steadiness because there's so much. So it's either I don't like the way that I look in my body, which, as you know, and I know as a woman, has nothing to do with what the scale says or the way that you actually look. Someone could have all of the things that society is saying is perfect and still not be happy in their body. So they have like a problem aware, but what is actually the solution to that problem? It could be so many things because it might have nothing to do with what they think it is. I'm curious of your thoughts on that.
I agree with you. And a lot of times it is a mindset thing, right? Can be completely healthy, but the world is telling them there's something wrong with them because they don't fit this ideal size and shape. Or, like you said, they might fit that ideal size and shape, but they might be torturing themselves to be that way and still feel like they're not right. Right? Is it really worth it to have this body that you think is the ideal when you're hungry all the time, you have no energy, you're completely stressed out, feeling so deprived, you're having these cravings and maybe even binging behind closed doors because the lifestyle that you are trying to create is not healthy, but you're trying to match some idea of what society tells you you need to be.
Yeah, yeah, it's so hard. And yeah, this is certainly potentially one of the noisiest areas of the online world, honestly,
Yeah,
for
especially
women.
now. But I mean,
Yeah.
you watch, I think every time I go to watch a YouTube video, it's an ad for Wegovy or whatever, the GLP ones. And almost every time that's what I'm getting. I'm like, wow, okay. Like, why am I getting this every single time that I want to watch a video? Or we watch the Super Bowl and almost every break there was some GLP-1 commercial on. You're like, please, let's stop. This is not some magic drug and it's not for everyone. So why are we advertising it to the world? I just want people to be aware that you don't have to feel like it's a struggle. Being healthy doesn't mean you have to punish yourself. It should not feel like punishment. It should not feel like a chore. It should not be rules that you're following. It should all come from within and what actually feels good. It should feel like self care. It should feel like self compassion. And there's so much that goes into it that's not about the food and it's not about Even movement, although, movement is great. It's healthy in itself, no matter what that movement might be. There's no perfect plan out there. There's things that work for you, but that has to come from you. You are the expert of your own body. So we can't go out there and listen to other people tell you what you need to do to your body.
When it comes to your business and the growth that you hope to see, what's the cost if you're not able to get there?
I think the cost, one for myself, is that I feel very passionate about this, right? This is not something that I'm like, this is work and this is how I'm going to make money. It's like, no, this is how I feel a purpose, right? To help, I'm driven to help other women in this way because I've seen the struggle working in the fitness industry for 20 years. I have seen the struggle working in different gyms, and I wanted to just stop. I want women to not have to deal with this anymore. So driven as a purpose, right? Like if I don't have this, where do I go? Yes, I'm still a mom. I'm still a wife. Like those are important things to me, but this feels bigger. Helping those other moms because then they can help their families too. And they can achieve more goals in their life if they're feeling better in their bodies about themselves. And so that's the other part of it, right? Is the other thing that gets lost is I'm not helping these other women. So they're not thriving as much as they would if they had this different perspective.
Yeah, all of us as service providers have our people that we're meant to serve. And the cost of it not working, there's so many layers to it, but who are your people? And who is it that's craving to find you that you are a perfect fit for them, for supporting them through what to them could be a very traumatic aspect of life that, especially for us as women, and I'm sure there's pressure for men, but speaking, as a woman, it can be lifelong trauma. That's
Sure.
daily. That's daily. That's all of the time.
Yeah. And it's the underlying it. Maybe if you're not even, you might not be thinking about, that you need to heal about your health constantly, but it's there. And for most of the women I work with, it is a big part of their life. It's not something they talk about all the time, right? Because it is a very personal topic, but it's something that's there in the back of their mind, or even it just feels like a part of them after
Yeah,
a point.
totally. Thank you so much, Robin, for joining me today to have this conversation. And for those of you listening, if any part of this resonated, if any part of Robin's process felt familiar, please reach out. I want to hear from you and I want to connect. And if you want to reach Robin directly, the links to her Instagram and her free starter guide are in the show notes. Thank you again, Robin, and to everyone else. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode of Ren Behind the Practice.